It's Wednesday on YourView. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Obiajulu Ugbo, how you doing?
Excellent morning.
Looking nice and smoky this morning.
Thank you. They smoked me up today in the makeup room like Salaram.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been working back to back. It's been an interesting journey so far. So I'll be rounding up for shoot the first week of July.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's
been intensive, like really, really intensive from location to location to location. And I'm really happy because I feel like people were impressed. So the crew members, the cast, everybody just
you gave it your all.
Loved me.
So more jobs are coming, no doubt.
The director was introducing me to somebody, and she was like, "Please get her job. She's a good actor." And I was like, for someone like Biobi Steven to say you're a good actor, I'm grateful.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well done, well done.
Yeah.
Hey, Topsy Tops, how you doing?
I'm good.
The earrings are new.
Yeah, so is the neck piece.
Okay.
My sister-in-law came for baby dedication, and so she went to Lagos Island to do a bit of shopping. So I gave her money to help my condition. And the truth is, I buy earrings, and 1 month down the line, I can't find one ear.
They're always falling off. Yeah, yes, I know.
I always.
So we're like Miriam, different ears.
Yeah, I just always forget. But I'm feeling very blinked out today.
Yeah.
I'm attracting money into my life.
I'm a money magnet.
I'm a money magnet because the kind of money I'm looking for. I mentioned it to the people.
You get it, don't worry.
I'm just cracking my head.
Activate your faith and it shall receive.
So
how I wish I could just dig into my account and just dash you. Honestly.
You don't need to dash, just invest.
You know what?
Back. It's just...
Don't worry, it will come.
It
will come. Alaja, Nima Akasha Zibiri. How you doing? You can bling, bling, everything. Sham bling off.
Alaja.
Even your wrists, everything. Even your watch gone, everything. Sham bling. Alaja.
My son wore this one for me this morning.
What do you have to do?
Yes,
it's time. We must go to Makkah.
So tomorrow I start the first 10 days of Zul-Ij towards the Eid, final Ileya.
Ram killing.
For the year.
So I will start the fast for the
this is Ram season.
Yes.
And people are already doing Ajah just commenced fully. Lagos State lifted some people to yesterday. Well, what I wanted to say today is advise the Lagos State government on the ramping, networking of the road, the Badagry Expressway. So when you drive straight from Orile, there are no exits from the middle lane into the service lane. Please study the mapping of Ikorodu Road and deploy the same. There are communities on those axes.
When you make a mistake and you enter that express, you are
stuck.
Yes,
you are stuck. And when you're trying to exit, you then fall into tankers and their own activities. You can't exit. Somebody needs to sit on that place and see the problem. And I'm begging the Commissioner of Transportation. I'm not even shy about it. You need to look into that road and that mapping. It has to be practical.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to Babatunde Raji Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State and Minister for Works and Housing.
What we say yesterday is not
it's not enough because this is a personal. This is my most accommodating, most receptive anybody in politics and governance towards me. So
fantastic.
Without shining.
Well, today's a big day for the education family in Lagos State because we're doing so much today. Today, I did some work for the Lagos State Government Commissioner, and they're commissioning a school in Agege today. Vetla was very excited. It's a beautiful world-class school facility. They have a nice courts, basketball, football, lovely work. If you see it in Agege, public school, they're doing it today. I'm going to be there after the show, and then we're giving out 13 cars to teachers who are the best teachers in Lagos State. Are getting 12 cars, not just car, Jeep.
Here.
I think I've let out because it was only a secret. I wasn't on bill. I hope they're not watching their class ahead. But it's a big day for them. I'm really excited. The commissioner has worked so hard for today, and she deserves a lot. And the governor of Lagos State has invested so much in education in Lagos State. We just pray that.
I think the governor has created a very enabling environment for.
It's gradual. It's gradual. We don't expect
leadership.
It's leadership.
Is not
the commissioner wants to do a whole lot, and if the governor does not allow, she can't do it.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. YourView will be right back.
How APC governors urged us out by aggrieved senators. Marginal oil fields bid net 200 billion naira. 15-year jail term awaits landlord renting apartment to Yahoo boys. Banditry. Matawale insists residents must carry guns in self-defense. Why Kano will remain in custody till November 14th by judge. 2 insurance firms lose operating licenses. And Tinubu hails acting CJN Ariwola's appointment. Okay, which story are we starting with in Nation?
So Matawale is insisting against the Minister for Defense advice that, you know, he will go on with the, you know, the intention to empower his people with firearms in that state. And he says that this conforms with the Firearms Act, will be done according to the provisions of the Act, and that, you know, he, as a governor, is the one who swore to an oath to protect his citizens, and he's doing what he should. And he went on to, you know, to inaugurate 4 committees, which he named, whose business also is to ensure security within that state. He's also, quickly, there's a part I'm forgetting. Okay, so well, the committees and their names are already in the papers, and he's also stated that his administration will not, they're not oblivious to what the security agencies are trying to do to contain the activities of bandits, but he wants to assist that job and that he will proceed with it. So
I took a story last week that 22 of the senators of PDP, of APC, are defecting or leaving the party. Some were going to PDP, others are going to NNPP. So the president has waded into this, trying to see if they can find a solution to this problem. So he met with 15 of these senators to find out what their issues were. And they raised about 4 or 5 issues. They said part of the allegations were the governors was their problem. These governors are the ones that caused the problem. That the doctrine of party registrars, manipulation of the list of delegates, use of political appointees to conduct primaries, intimidation of APC members, monetization of the primaries, and announcements of results before the primaries. We didn't even see all these things. And declaration of results without the primaries. So they were really upset that the governors actually interfered, and they edged us out to make them lose tickets, returning tickets. So what the president is trying to give them some kind of compensation, although he wasn't specific on the kind of compensation he was offering. But it was clear that we're trying to get his aggrieved members, because if they don't, they will lose the majority in the House, and that will be a problem for them, for the APC party.
Yeah, so 2 quick stories. The Federal High Court in Abuja yesterday dismissed the bail application by Nnamdi Kanu, that's the leader of IPOB, and he says because he was trying to get a revocation of the arrest warrants issued against him when he ceased to attend court. And I know this happened in 2017. So the Justice Binta Nyako said that the application filed by Kanu's lawyers was an abuse of the court process, because at the time he had failed to provide the reasons why he absconded from court, and he was given a bail based on health reasons, and then he disappeared. That even the day the bail was revoked, that his shorties did not know his whereabouts in court, and they were saying they wanted to be discharged from that. And so he's saying that the president's application amounts to an abuse of court processes for attempting to relitigate an issue already decided by the court. That if the defendant is dissatisfied, he should go to the appeal court and, you know, appeal this one. But right now, this case is dismissed, and it continues. Then the second story I wanted to just quickly, EFCC has said that any landlord who, you know, gets in a Yahoo boy as a tenant will be made to serve 15 years in jail. And they're going to be having like a town hall meeting today where they're going to enlighten people. So when your tenants are coming in, you have to ask them questions. Where do they work? I don't know, because everybody claims, but everybody claims they do business. So how do we really find out who's the Yahoo boy and who's not?
It was like a brother, he just creating a
we don't have data here.
We don't have data. So why will you hold the landlord responsible?
We have to take data. He said they don't come for NIN. They say they didn't bring it to their house.
Everybody has done it.
When you take your story, or your deputy governor is suing the State Assembly over the faulty impeachment process. We recall that the Oyo deputy governor has fallen out of relationship with his governor, and he decamped to another party. His name is Deputy Governor Raul Folaniyo. His lawyer took the case to court in Oyo State High Court yesterday and asked that the State Assembly Speaker as well as the clerk be ordered, be served to appear in court, because the case couldn't proceed because there was no representative from the State Assembly. And he's calling that it doesn't say anything wrong with impeachment, but it needs to follow the rule of law. And his concern is that this process isn't following the rule of law, and he wants the court to intervene.
Okay, moving on quickly now to the Punch. XCGN to get 2.5 billion naira benefits. Senate begins corruption probe. Picture story here. Edo pupils learning on bare floor. Community seeks government's help. Sexagenarian dies in friend steals ATM card, withdraws 700,000 naira. Strike. Abiodun meets Labour today. Laments cash crunch. Lagos lives 1,598 pilgrims. Promises refund. Exercise restraints, Buhari tells aggrieved senators. Will apply diplomatic pressure to help Ekweremadu Maduse's reps. Dollar hits 615 naira to the dollar as local raw materials sounding drops to 54%. Aggrieved aspirants reject INEC's list, begin multiple court cases, and 13 marginal fields dormant. FG awards 557 to new investors. Let's start with the picture story.
Okay, so the picture story is the picture of students in school in a community called the Ofunwegbe community along Okada Junction in Ovia, southwest local government area of Edo State. And exactly. The point exactly, because you know. So this is very close to the state capital, but this school barely has, proper facility. It's completely dilapidated. And according to the chairman of the Community Governing Council, Mr. Igodaro, he said the state of the school, the government has to come. The school was not fenced. Hoodlums attacked the school. The roofs are falling. They have gone bad. There are no ceilings, no chairs. The children sit on the bare floor to learn. And the picture is in the Punch. Yeah. You can easily check for yourself. Right. And he has also called on the government to quickly help to come to their aid and rebuild the school. They're asking them to also invest in other facilities. And
so the reason I was interested in that story because I have done some work there too, and I know that the government is doing a lot of work. So the first strategy was to...
In his first step,
I didn't disrupt you speak. I let you speak. It will be unfair not to say something because I know some information in this thing. The first strategy was to train the teachers. All teachers were properly trained. Infrastructure was second. Now, they've done over 400 schools already. You cannot wave a magic wand and have all the schools.
Did you see all 400?
The school,
did you see all 400 or you were told?
In zero situation. Zero. I'm telling you, when I say zero, I mean zero. This man is rebuilding. So not all the schools, absolutely. There are many schools that have been... I have been to a few schools, not all. I've been to a few schools, but I know over 400 has been invested in already. And this government said they are going to work on it. So you're right. This hasn't been touched. But the point is that they will touch it, and every single school... Because the World Bank has given them some $5 million because they know what they're doing. They do something right in education. That we like to
so we should give it time, right?
So we give it time. But the first thing they did was content. Make sure learning goes take place in school.
I sort of agree with that.
By training the teachers. Because some children do too well. Under the tree, if you like train a child energy, they can still pass their boy. But fix the training first, and then we move on to...
We have not taken the paper.
No, I was ready for Nima.
No, she has finished now. And I'm just questioning. Please send pictures from your communities. Let's see what is happening.
So the family of a 60-year-old man, Isaac Wahab, have been thrown into mourning after he reportedly died from shock when an unauthorized withdrawal of 700,000 was done from his account. So according to the story, they said that a friend of his, Mr. Ola, needed money to pay his rent. And so he came to him and was telling him that he would have to sell his generator to raise any amount of money just to support his rent. So this particular Isaac told him, don't bother about selling your generator, and gave him 10,000. Said, I'm expecting my tenants to pay me. From there, I'll give you something so that you can sort out your landlord issues. But they went for a drink. I think he got him drunk and then stole his ATM card and went to withdraw money in 3 tranches from a POS. You know, the shock now killed the man. So his family members are out looking for him. They have seized his phone. They couldn't find him. He's nowhere to be found. They have taken the matter to the police since June 23. The police is saying now that nobody has reported the case to them. So I just believe that they have to look into it.
This is really, really hard. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, moving on now to Daily Sun. Buhari panics over looming mass defection from APC. Senate in fresh push to amend Electoral Act. Our church killing, we have not arrested any suspect. Hey, I hope somebody read that story. It says police. Wow. Jonathan opens up to the 2014 confab report. Tinubu certificate non-issued if INEC record is efficient. This was Odima. Rep someone Aregbe Shola Unyama, others over Ikuri Mado. 15 feared killed, others missing, renewed Ebonyi Benue boundary dispute, and impeachment of your deputy sues House of Assembly. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Said about 15 people in Ukwagba Mbo community in Ohauku local government area of Ebonyi State yesterday were confirmed killed. Said many were declared missing, and property worth millions were destroyed by gunmen who attacked the area. So according to the sources in the area, they said that they've been accusing the Aguila neighbors in Ado local government area of Benue State, said that they are the ones that are carrying the deadly attack. And according to the coordinator of Mbo North Development Center, Echem Onyekachi, confirmed the incident yesterday. He said, however, only 7 bodies had so far been discovered following the incident. They also said that there were many houses and shops that were burnt down in many places. But before now, they've been having clashes with the Ado local government area of Benue State. So, and it's usually this kind of period that they come in and do this sort of killing. Also, they were asking that the government should write to the National Boundary Commission for land demarcation between Mbo and Aguila people. They've been having issues with their land demarcation. The Ado people, on the other hand, are saying that this is not us. We have not had any issues with these people for a long time, and so proper investigations need to be done. And, you know, they also, some other persons were saying that about 15 persons had died from this, and some other people are still missing, so likely we'll have more numbers of people.
Okay.
So I want to take the story of Governor, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma replying to people that are saying that there's an issue with the certificate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's certificate, because the presidential aspirant for APC signed an affidavit and submitted it to the electoral body saying he did not attend primary school and secondary school. And the former governor of Lagos also, however, claimed that he had 2 degrees from 2 U.S. universities, which he further stated the certificates were stolen by unknown soldiers during the military era in 1990. So Uzodinma was supporting the APC presidential candidate, saying that there's no issue, that if INEC keeps records of all the information submitted to them previously, they wouldn't have any issue. That this man contested for as a senator in the 90s and he won. He contested in 2023 and 1999 as a governor, and he also won. He served in many capacities, and so the issue of INEC, if INEC is keeping record, certificates or lack of certificates of the APC aspirant Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu shouldn't be any issue at all. Then he also appreciated the president for supporting the Army Day celebration in Owerri, saying it will strengthen the measures on ground to contain banditry and insecurity within the region and send strong signals to criminals about how safe the zone is going to be. All
right, so there was a media briefing yesterday in Abuja. The first PRO, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, was saying that he knows nothing. You heard that story?
No,
he was saying that he knows nothing. He doesn't have any official comments to make on the Owo shooting. That just like everybody else, he saw the news and the rumors on social media and the TV, but nobody has been arrested. That some items picked up at the scene, he's helping them with the investigation. But as of today, no one has been arrested linking to the Owo massacre. And this is important to take because there were rumors of people were arrested, taken to Abuja. So we have different stories, but he's saying the police is the only official source to let us know if indeed the people have been arrested connected to the massacre. And he's saying that it's not.
Story. Right. So the Senate were applauding the Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court has ruled now that, you know, the Minister for Justice and the High Court judgment that he was trying to rely on to delete Section 84 sub 12 of the Electoral Act is null and void and is wrong. And so the Senate is saying, thank God that the Supreme Court has, you know, established further the foundation of separation of powers and giving the power to create acts and legislation to the Senate and the National Assembly only. By this judgment, they've restored the principle of separation of powers and the independence of other arms of government.
Okay, let's move on to Vanguard. Ex-CGM must be probed in judiciary's interstate Senate. Self-defense reps ask FG to send troops to Zamfara. NNPC GMD blames fuel scarcity hike in diesel price on moribund refineries. Alleged rigging plans deny APC leaders government officials visa. says PDP writes UK and US. Ekwemadu, we won't allow humiliation of former Deputy Senate President, says Reps. Why I couldn't implement the confab report, says Jonathan. And we're unaware of fresh route to stop Tinubu, says Ogala. Okay.
So the major headline, the Senate again is saying that they will continue with the probe that started into the activities of the Supreme Court. Even though the CJN still resigned, they had already established that the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters should probe some of the allegations against the CJN before his resignation. And so that probe must continue. I also talked about the body of senior advocates of Nigeria then gave a vote of confidence to the CJN, saying that he was a gentleman in all ways because, he resigned on health grounds, being something that had not been done prior to his resignation.
And there was just somewhere I read he's getting 2.5 billion as a severance package.
Oh, as a severance package.
The break is in Punch. Go to the breakdown. He's getting a house, any house, wherever he wants, a mansion actually. You can say house, a mansion, either in Abuja, wherever he chooses, his house staff, his cars, he's keeping official cars. It's a whole lot of stuff that he's going to be getting. I'm happy for him. I was going to take the story, Ekweremadu. So the National Assembly yesterday saying that they will not allow any actions that would humiliate Senator Ekweremadu. And the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Femi Agbajabiamila, was saying yesterday that it would do well for us to remember that a criminal charge does not constitute conviction or conclusive proof of guilt. This is merely the beginning of a judicial process. And then after a while, sufficient evidence will be gathered, and then we now know the situation of what really happened. So we shouldn't just assume that he's guilty. Let us let the Nigerian government to do everything they can to support him, especially in the UK. So the Minister of Health has been asked to help his daughter to ensure that she gets the right medical help while they're waiting a trial for July, I think July 9th or July 7th. And there's also directed the Nigerian embassy there to also support him with all the legal support he would need across. So, and they've also spoken to the UK government to ensure that there's free and fairness, to ensure that there are no hanky-panky being played in this. But we just hope that indeed he gets justice at the end of the day.
A really sad story for business people because the NICOM, that's National Insurance Commission, has revoked the license of 2 big insurance companies. Niger Insurance has been in existence for 60 years, and Standard Alliance Insurance has been in existence for 41 years. Both companies listed on the stock exchange, both companies' license revoked. And we really need, I've been discussing how important insurance is to everybody around me that does business, and then to have such huge companies with heritage just get having issues. They have now appointed liquidators, and they have assured stakeholders that their interest and investment will be protected. Additional information will be released over time, but still.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this directive given by the Zamfara state government to citizens of the state to acquire arms to defend themselves against bandits has been generating a lot of reactions. So the House of Reps yesterday had to seek an urgent intervention with the federal government to urgently deploy youths and troops to quell the attacks in the states. They also mentioned that this has gone beyond local policing and local security. Right now, they need the federal government to come in heavily because these bandits impose levies on members of the community, and they also ask for ransom after they have kidnapped. So this is not just what the states will be handling. They need at the federal government level, something drastic needs to be done. But the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodimma, is saying that he doesn't believe in his citizens taking up arms, that they know that they still have almost the same crisis like every other place, but the security in the state is doing as much as it can to secure the lives and properties of residents of Imo State. And he's saying that even the sit at home has not even been obeyed anymore. People are going about their normal businesses.
Okay, our final paper, the Nigerian Tribune, Buhari moves to halt APC senators' defection. Why I didn't implement confab, we talked about that. Landlords giving out houses to Yahoo boys risk 15 years, we mentioned that early. Again, court rejects Kanu's bill application. Supreme Court to probe Supreme Court's justice's allegation despite CGN's resignation. Let's find a story of not taking. Why Lalong as VP best for APCC Nigeria's unity. NICOM cancels registration of certificates of 2 insurance companies. Migrants are increasing around Nigeria's border, says ILO. Okay, so I took the story. There's a northern group advocating that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu should pick a northern Christian. So they were suggesting, I'm not sure the name of the group, they're suggesting and canvassing for the Plateau State Governor and chairman of the Nigerian Northern Governors Forum, Simon Lalong. According to them, he is a detribalized northerner who would fit appropriately because of the current tension of should Asiwaju pick a Muslim ticket or should he go for a Muslim-Christian ticket? So the conversation is ongoing and he's still consulting to pick whoever he's going to be running with. But this group is advocating that he should pick Lalong because he's detribalized and he's going to ensure religious sanctity across the country and ensure that there wouldn't be, that he'll be able to win elections with him. So
really
everybody
is elections.
Yeah. It's about winning elections.
Yes, winning of election. Who can pull the numbers?
Who can pull the numbers? That's
it.
Okay, I think that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, bringing our guest for today, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we'd love to celebrate Nigerian homegrown content. So joining us on the show now is the CEO of Accelerate, Colette Otusheso. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you
A lot
for
of people
having
know
me.
Accelerate, but they don't know the brain behind Accelerate. So for those of you who have no idea what Accelerate is, I'd like you to start with the journey because we've seen you develop content, showcase content on your platform. And you've done it over the years, but it started just like as an idea, which you sold to your boss, to the MD, and then gradually now it's a full company. Tell us in a nutshell how that started.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me. It's so good to be here. So Accelerate it started off as a blog. It was, it was a blog, and it was born by Access Bank. And for them, they wanted to use it as a platform to engage with young audiences. So it was just like a website that had 1 or 2 articles daily and had some content. And I got a call saying, listen, we have this great idea or we have this thing, but we need to grow. Like, we need strategy and planning behind it. So I got excited because for me, it was the first time that I could actually build something from the ground up. Previous jobs, I've always kind of gone into a very corporate setting where you can't really move what you can create and what you can't. So it was really exciting that we could set up Accelerate. So again, what we did was we set it up as a platform. So for me, I used to say it was like Bella Naija meets Netflix, right? So that you could go in, get great content about Africa, about lifestyle, fashion, music and so on. But at the same time, you could feed yourself with great visual content as well, be it speaks to, again, lifestyle, drama, and great content that showcases the best of Africa, because I think I got to a stage where I was tired of seeing mediocre stuff. And even in terms of production quality as well, I wanted to see something that was, I wanted to see something that would sit on BT, that would sit on E! Entertainment. So that's when we started creating content.
BET, like Africa glowed.
Girl,
Africa really
I am so
excited.
I'm so excited.
It's a great time for content development.
It is. Our music has really opened up. So obviously, Nollywood has always been there, and that's what people knew about Nigeria, about Africa. But the music has just taken us to the next level. I was so proud.
You launched a subscription recently, which is a video on demand. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes. So SVOD is a subscription video on demand. It's basically I don't want to name brands, but it's like having a Netflix. For us, it was really important. So we've had 5 years of creating great content. We've had 5 years of having great collaborations with the likes of like Kemi Adetiba on the King Women series, on Brotherhood, and different young creators. And we said to ourselves, you know what? We've been around for 5 years. What's the next step? And the truth is, we don't have capacity to do hours and hours and hours worth of content. But we've always got such amazing minds and young people coming and saying, I've got this film, I've got this idea, let's see how we can work together. So when obviously COVID happened, we all sat in our houses, didn't we? And we were entertained. So for us, we started putting together, just before COVID actually, we started putting together this plan of what's our next 5 years looking like. And we said, you know what, let's play in this SVOD space because number one, it gives us an opportunity not just to house, accelerate content, but to also house content from all over Africa. What was important for us is a platform that showcases the best of Africa. you're not going to see Spider-Man on Accelerate. You're not going to see any Oimbo-made content. But what you will see is great African content from Nigeria, Ghana, Botswana, South Africa, Kenya. And that's what we really want to build. We want to build a go-to place that anybody in the world that wants to immerse themselves in great African content can come to. So we have films, we have drama series, we have lifestyle. I'm a very big fan of lifestyle content. Earlier on, I was watching the cooking show. You know, I love stuff like that. And I felt like back in the day, we didn't really put ourselves forward to show that we can also cook in the right settings and do those things. So we've got cooking shows. We've got an amazing travel lifestyle show that is about to come out. And we're showcasing the best of Africa. So we spent 2 months traveling across Africa. Wow. You know, and again, for us, it's like, Africa is not... you know, somewhere that you should not look at. It's actually a great place. It's a great destination. So
I feel, I love your energy, and it's exciting because I feel sometimes a bit worried about the fact that our creativity is left to the whims of someone somewhere. You know, like if you want to get your content out there, and you want a platform where you get paid for it, you have to pray and hope that either Amazon or Netflix, Prime or Netflix picks it up. And if they don't, you're stuck with having to share it free on YouTube. Yeah. So I'm wondering, what's the journey towards empowering creatives? How are you getting more creatives to be like, this is a platform for you to get more involved? How are you bringing them in? What are you doing in that space? Okay, so to be fair, when we started, one of the key things that we wanted to do was how do we capacity build and how do we start actually supporting creatives? So we set up the Accelerate Filmmaker Project about 5 years ago, where we started training young people in film production, you know, the whole kind of nine behind the whole TV space. And what we wanted to do was make sure that they got a space on the table, because you find that for a long time, nobody was opening doors for young people in that space. So what we did was we created training. We also gave them mentors. So we had mentors like Colette Otusheso, Kemi Adetiba, Sheyi Babatokwe, we had Antijoke Silva, and others that would literally handhold some of these young people and help them make their way into the industry. And what we also did was we created a fund, and that fund also funded their project. So once we trained everybody, they all had a pitching session. They pitched their films, and we funded it. And we've been lucky enough to win 2 AMVCA awards, Best Short Film, through that project. We've won Film House Awards, thank you. And we've gone around the world to film festivals. Because for us, it's how do we ensure that our young people are growing? How do we support them? And a lot of them have gone on jobs on film sets. They've been able to create their own. We have, you know, one of our great testimonies is a young man called Michael Amasamis. He started with us on the Filmmaker Project. He's now, he's the one that did the Making of King of Boys documentary for Netflix. He did Ghost in the Towel 2. He's gone off to Ghana to do series. He's actually just completed a series for us, and he came in through our Filmmaker Project. So it shows that these things are possible. Once the talents are there.
For the talent. And then obviously in terms of working with young people to ensure that their content is on the platform, yes, it's a platform that we are lucky enough to have a budget to acquire. So that is what we're doing. We are acquiring, but we're also commissioning, and we're also going into partnerships. You know what I mean? Because some people just want the eyeballs. They want to work with a partner that can say, you know what, I'm going to make sure everybody sees your content. So it's just working with everybody to make sure that everybody's happy.
So I know that Accelerate Plus and Phoenix projects are, how difficult or what are the challenges in bringing those things to life?
Wow. Well, one thing I would say is I have an amazing team. So shout out to the A team. They are fantastic. So what we did was, you know, we literally built the business so that every new thing has its own project team. So the Phoenix project, that one was important for us. So that's like Accelerate Filmmaker Project 2.0. So we started with training young people that were interested in film. We then went to the market and started speaking to people. If you had the opportunity to train, what do you want to train in? Where do you see yourself? And everybody said, you know, we had kids that came back with fashion. Obviously, someone wanted to do film. Someone wanted to understand entertainment law. Someone wanted to understand about graphic design and so on. So we created, with the Phoenix project, there's 12 courses that you start with, which is fantastic. We have 3 phases. Beginner's phase is free. It's online. We have people like Lala. Lala's taken our introduction to production. We have an amazing lawyer, Amaka, who's done our introduction to entertainment law, which is important for everybody in this industry. We've got Xavier, who is doing the script writing. We've got Paul, CEO of Chocolate City. who is telling you about the business of entertainment. And it's online, and then we have a partnership with Pan Atlantic University on the physical courses. Once you've gone through your physical courses, we actually have a fund. So if you say you're an entrepreneur and you've got this project, we can fund your project and support you right through from inception to when you go live.
Wow.
And if we don't do that, then we have internship opportunities. So be it with us and with other media companies. So Phoenix Project for us is like the back end and the making sure that we have a platform that continues to train young people, which is really, really important for us.
This is amazing. Like I feel so, okay, we're coming back to this. All right.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest with us, Colette, the CEO of Accelerate. Yes, you had a question.
Yeah, so hearing you speak, you make business sound so easy. And on this table, we usually like to know the process because there are a lot of people out there who would be inspired not to give up when the challenges come. So can you tell us some of the challenges you faced when you started this business and how you were able to overcome them?
Ooh.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Just a
I
few.
can be here all day. So I think some of the biggest challenges we have is that because we are backed by a financial institution, I think people just generally think that we have loads of money. And I keep saying, guys, we don't have loads of money, but we want to make a difference in this industry. So a lot of what we've been able to achieve has been through strategic collaborations that make sense. It's been through capacity building and building up young up-and-coming that nobody gave a chance to, that will still come back to us and help us create great content that we want. But the finance thing is a big problem because everybody looks at it, and you now, you're with Access Bank, you're with, and we're like, guys, we're standalone, we have the support, but the funds we have to generate ourselves, right? So we don't have the money that everybody thinks that we have. And obviously what's also important is the capacity building as well, having the right people in the room. And you know what we were saying in the break is you really have to have a team that understands your vision and they want to see it through. We've been really, really lucky on the Accelerate side. Jite, who's our head of marketing, helped build Bella Niger when Bella Niger first started. Essay, who's our head of production, has been, you know, around for a long time. She's worked on different things. So has Lawrence, who's our second head of production. So we've been really strategic in the people that we have in the different places, but we've also made sure that we're building our team as well. If there's training opportunities available, we'll put them on. Part of one of our partnerships with Afrif every year, they give like loads of training. We make sure that we jump on that training as well because we can only get better if we train ourselves, right?
Let me let you jump in here because I know that
I wanted to, one of my core concerns when it comes to content creation is the fact that we tell the reality, and it's something Mariah is very passionate about, and we've discussed it. We tell what we see. We're not creating a vision for people. We're not. We show the police in their worst state. We're not saying this is the ideal way police could be. We're not using drama to recreate and fill people's imagination with what is possible. What are you thinking in that line, or you're also just thinking? I know you have to think commercial, but how do you strike the balance between commercial viability of your production as well as idealistic feeling of what we had with Black Panther, where everybody was like, oh, this is Africa, this can be Africa. How are you doing that?
So we're definitely doing that. Obviously, you also want to create content that is relatable, that people relate to. So what we've done is, so as part of our documentary series, we've done something called Streets of Lagos. It's literally the streets of Lagos, as it is. We're not hiding anything. But at the same time, we've started creating content that showcases a better life, a better ideal. One of the key reasons I moved back to Nigeria was because everything that I saw when I was in the UK was so negative. And when I came to Nigeria, I was like, what? These people have been lying to us. You know, so I was like, I'm going to create content that showcases us in the best light. Hence that if we are making travel shows and series that showcases our best, because guess what? When they come from there and they create documentaries about us, they show the slums, they show the worst of Nigeria. You would never know that we had beautiful places in Nigeria. That is what we're trying to put forward. In regards to, you know, changing the narrative in regards to showcasing a Wakanda, and you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. I think we also have to remember that production money on this side is not what you have in Hollywood. So you have to manage what you have. But we're definitely about pushing a positive.
I like you to just working with millennials. It's always, people always complain about the fact that many of them are just not, it's hard for them to, they all want the fast, quick, get rich quick kind of jobs. And so as a leader, you're having to work with a lot of young people. I'd like you to touch a bit on that. And what's that, what do you have in line? What do you have in stock for people like us who love content, who like to see more content? What should we be looking forward to for Accelerate to wrap up?
Okay, so in terms of millennials, you know, I always say to my team, I want to be the oldest person in the room. Because I remember when I was a millennial, Gen Z, I remember I was full of ideas. And, you know, what you want to do is you always want to find somebody who's willing to listen to your ideas, right? And who's willing to help you put it into a proper plan. Right. You know, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about having young people around me. Half the time, before I used to think I was a music head and what was going on. Now I don't know anything. They're like, you don't know this person? Do you know this person? I'm like, no, I don't. But that's why you have them around, right? Especially because you want to build content that speaks to, we're a young country, we're a young nation. So I love having them around, but we also have to guide them so that they do the right things. Right. It's not easy, but it's part of what we have to do, right? And then in regards to what to expect from Accelerate, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but we've got some amazing, amazing content. Collaboration, like I said, is key. We've got some great stuff coming out from some of the people that we're working with this year. We've got... I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Visa on Arrival that we've worked with Bovi on. Yes. It is one of the funniest things on TV. You know, so that's on Accelerate Plus. We've got, like I said, the great travel show coming up that doesn't just showcase Nigeria, it showcases the best of Africa. We've got more lifestyle content and obviously more films. We're now going into collaborations for our own Accelerate studio films as well, which is something that we haven't done. That's huge. So there's going to be some great announcements coming up.
Nice. I'm so happy. You can see that it's from within. Yeah. So congratulations. Well done. We're here to support you. If you need some kind of noise about it, let us know. We'll be happy to put it on TV.
And guys, subscribe. Oh, yeah. AcceleratePlus.tv. Yeah. Can I do my plug now?
Your money has finished.
It's only 100 naira, 500 naira. Yes.
Monthly.
Yes. Oh. Subscription is really good. Okay. We want to make sure that everybody has access to it.
Thank you, Colette. I must bring the Nigerian part of it. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we'll move on to another segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. You know, Wednesdays, we love to talk business, to learn from each other. So we're having on the show now is a digital consultant, Seun David Onamusi. He will be discussing how to safeguard the future of the nation through sustainable growth in technology industry and how to explore the untapped resources and opportunities in this sector. You can join the conversation on 081-270-53687. 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourView TVC so we can read your tweet. Welcome to the show, Seun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So one of the things we'd like to discuss on Wednesdays is the fact that we have a lot of young people who want to japa. They just want to leave the country. You left 2009 after youth service, I believe. And many people want to be like you. Say, let me even go first. Don't tell me that I shouldn't go. Let me go first. After that, I can now decide like Seun to come back. But let me go first. But in your view, what are the opportunities in technology, especially, that young people can tap into within Nigeria?
Okay. So within technology space, there are a lot of opportunities. There are processes that we are used to having, right? Yeah. One that comes to mind is you have people who are moving away from just making phone calls to your tailor and creating apps so that you can have your measurement on an app and then your tailor takes the order from that from the other end and then create your designs for you, right?
Yeah.
You have people who are using 3D technology to create shoes. Where you have an app, you just create, you choose the style of shoes that you want, you choose the texture, you choose.
Really?
That's actually my business model. So I'm talking about my business model. But you basically you choose the fabric, you choose the sole, you choose the heels of the shoes, all through technology, right? And gone were the days where you just have to take a screenshot of a picture of a shoe that you want and send it to someone. But that's one example. There are other people that are looking at improving different business processes. So there are a lot of things that you can actually improve and move away from the traditional way of doing things. And that, in essence, creates jobs from an IT point of view, but also it makes it much easier to take, customer orders for people as well.
That's an interesting business model. I mean, I think I'm even more interested in what you do exactly. But let's learn more about. Let me come to somebody else. Go ahead.
So I'm a believer in technology. I feel that technology makes our life easy, and we need to explore the options. And I see that there's always the complaint that there's no job in Nigeria. I don't agree, but how can young people leverage technology without anybody? Because, the average person watching doesn't have a connection. And they want to create job for themselves, and they all have a phone. So I want us to get practical into what can we do with this phone as a young person, technology-wise, and earn money from it. What are the options available that you have heard of?
Okay, sure. I think the easiest one is content creation. And content creation is not just about videos on TikTok and Instagram. Content creation, there are companies outside the country who are looking for content creators, marketing content creators, who are good with words. So you can use your phone to sign up on different platforms and start to create content as well. There are applications out there that allow you to just put in 1 or 2 words, and then it can create your blog in 5 minutes. Using artificial intelligence. I'm not going to plug their name, because they're a US company, but there are applications like that. There are quite a lot of them. So you don't even have to be skilled at writing.
You just need the information.
You just need the information. Once you get your bullet points of what you want to talk about, you put it into the application, and then it spits out the different options. And you can choose your tone of voice as well, if you want to be professional, if you want to be friendly, whatever way you want to, if you want to be funny.
Give me that name,
I need to get it too. I'm doing that because it's really interesting. So you can just create a blog by doing that.
Absolutely. You can start your own blog just by doing that.
I'm the last person to ask this question, but what is the purpose of a blog? I mean, I get people just say, I have a blog, and I'm thinking, what exactly is it? Just put stuff on the blog and people to go out there and read. People actually go out there to read. What's the objective of having a blog?
So it's one of the key sort of marketing strategies that organizations outside the country use. Right. Because what happens is you have a ready funnel of individuals who come to read your blog post. And once they come to that, they come to your website on a regular basis, you can either use there's something you call click-through rates that you can use for marketing purposes to make money as well. You can sell their data, you can sell their IP address and things like that. So there's quite a lot from a business standpoint. Right. But from a user point of view, I think it's more information. Yeah. We all want to be part of a tribe. We want to be part of something. We want, it's almost like cognitive dissonance, where we are always looking for information that resonates with us, right?
So not all of us want to be part of anything. Me, I just have a phone. So, so we just, without any deliberate intention, I'm a member of anybody's tribe now. So what exactly is the digital world about? Is it just the apps, the dancing apps for Instagram or singing apps, whatever? What exactly, how wide is it? How limited is it? Where exactly are these, apps and all these measures that you're using? What can we remove? What can you control?
I don't understand the question. I hope you did.
As a digital expert, from now on you have talked blog, you have talked app, you have talked creating, marketing. What exactly
She's
is
confused.
this thing about? And I know there are a lot of people like me who
She's not
would
a digital
rather
native.
not be in any of these things. You just want to be safe.
Yeah.
You know, because there's
Because
some
we think it's
dangers
not
there.
safe.
Because there's some dangers there. So please
So the way, it's a good question, because I get asked that when I'm consulting for people, and they say, come here, you're a digital expert, we want digital transformation, we don't know what this thing is about, what exactly is it? And I go there, and my easiest way of explaining it is taking analog, what you're doing currently, and making sure that you optimize it for the technology space. So all you're doing is, before now, we used to have gossip. People would gather around and gossip under the tree or somewhere else. Now we have Elinda, or we have somebody else that is going to do the gossip. So it's pretty much the same thing we do offline that we're doing digitally now. It's the same. We connect with people. We go to groups to connect with other individuals. We go to networking events, but now you can network on social media. You know, we used to entertain ourselves. You know, sometimes growing up, they used to call us kids, come and dance for the adults, right? Now kids are dancing for the world. We have to be careful, of course. So it's really just taking what is known and transforming it into this digital space.
Let's bring this okay, go ahead.
So I want to add to what she's saying. So I understand her perfectly, and I know that the fear of the unknown is what is scaring, especially most parents, because sometimes these young people do not know where to draw the line. Now, how do you encourage young people to use the tools for something meaningful, something more productive, something that will pay them, as against using the tools for just fooling around and wasting time?
Absolutely. And that is a global problem. It's a global problem when it comes to the digital space. And what I would even want to encourage the tech space of Nigeria and very young enterprising tech entrepreneurs is start to create platforms that are kids friendly. Start to create like web apps that are kids friendly, that the parents can shut down on their own phone. I mean, there are applications like that you can install on your child's phone, and you can monitor what sort of activity is going on. But the web browser as a whole is not optimized for that yet. So I will encourage entrepreneurs in Nigeria, because that could be a good space for us to really address these issues, because they are big concerns. They are really...
Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing with our guest, Sheol. You left Nigeria in 2009. How did you come about your own company? So what exactly made you come into this tech business?
Okay, so just a bit background. I actually left in 2003, and then I did my university in the UK, and then I came to do my NYSC.
Oh.
And while doing my NYSC, I opened up a TM Lewin franchise in Abuja, and ran that for 3.5 years before then moving back.
Oh.
To answer your question about moving back and also business, I got into the digital space by, I think, coincidence. You know, it wasn't planned. I was in the fashion industry. I've always had my own business. I had an image consultancy, you know, worked with, you know, high-profile celebrities in the past. But the digital space attracted me because I started to see what we can do with this technology. Technology in itself, just like everything else, right? It has its good and it has its bad. And I saw that technology helps to make life much easier. I mean, from mobile phones, for example, right? Back in the day, we had to go to a shop, you know, to try and make a phone call. Now we have our mobile phones. We can talk to anybody. We can text anyone. We can have a video. You don't miss out from birthday parties. Even if you can't be there, there's a Zoom party that you can join. So technology really helps a lot. So I went into that space for that specific reason. And also I'm a strategic thinker, so I wanted to find an opportunity to bring strategy and make sure that if we are talking about digital and we're talking about technology, we do not remove the human elements. That's why I'm always concerned about the human elements. How is this impacting the people? What exactly is it doing to the people? And that's my focus as a consultant as well.
Michelle, you know, we really haven't tested. How long has this started? We really haven't tested this. Recently, I read an article on one of these payment solutions, and it was called the sinking sand, you know. And this is one of the ones that I would not like to mention them here, but this is one of the ones that we think, it's highest paid, their staff and everything is well structured and all of that. And this payment solution, the article exposed certain, you know, certain defaults in their structure. Where are the legitimate earning strong digital solutions? Where are they? And what are the risks in, you know, trusting? Recently, crypto to done. What are the risks?
Yeah.
How safe is it?
So I'm not a crypto expert.
That was just an example.
And when we talk about this payment platforms, what I always say as a consultant is technology is good, but it's a tool. You have to look at your processes. You have to look at your ethos as a business. You have to look at your culture. You have to look at how your greed appetite is, right? Because at the end of the day, if you take a thief and you send the thief to Harvard, you've only taught the thief to be an educated thief. That's all it is. You know, that thievery will still be there. So at the end of the day, technology itself has to be wrapped around culture, has to be wrapped around the human elements, right? So that you can, I mean, in crypto space, there are a lot of people that have gone in there, right? And it's a lot of, you know, it's like a pyramid scheme in my view sometimes, right? You know, but it's greed that is driving a lot of people. It's not actually the value that crypto can do, because digital currency can help to balance financial impropriety. So, for example, you can create millionaires quicker. You know, unlike before where you had to, paper was the way to define your value, your financial value. With digital currency, you can actually create millionaires much easier. You know, so it can balance financial impropriety.
So I think that you're an entrepreneur. It's definitely, that's your wiring. And many times I always try to understand what spurs people into being entrepreneurial. How do we engage people to be more entrepreneurial in their thinking, as opposed to saying, I'm looking for a job? And what would you say was that thing for you? How did you start the TM shop? Why did you decide to do that when you finished from school, as opposed to getting a job?
Be a privileged kid, you know.
I'm far from a privileged kid. My secondary school was in the Anokpaja in Abeson Estate. I fondly say I have this accent so that they won't collect their passport from me in the UK. so I was born in Ijebu-Ode, so I'm typical. But what spun me into entrepreneurship? My grand-aunt who raised me in Surulere, she used to send me to the market at the age of 9 to go and grind chin-chin. And then, you know, we would come back, we'll sell the chin-chin, we'll fry the chin-chin, puff-puff, we'll sell it outside the house. When I went to school, I mean, before going to school, I saw that as trading. I saw that as surviving. Yaoni chin-chin. That's all I saw it as. But when I went to school and I started to learn that there is no difference between that my grandmother and a Richard Branson. The only difference is that Richard Branson has learned the strategy, the skills, the art and science of multiplying his skills, of making sure that he can scale his business, you know, in that sense. And that's where entrepreneurship can come in place. And I'll bring it back to the government, because we have to bring it back to the government. I feel like in Nigeria, we don't have universities that are teaching entrepreneurship. This is a curricula It's something that you can go in and get a BSc in entrepreneurship. We need to have that. We need to have entrepreneurship centers around the country. We need to start putting that into schools so that people are not going into school thinking immediately, I need to get a job. They can go into school and know that I'm going to start a business because I've learned customer evaluation, customer problem solving. I've learned all these key things.
The ASU president was addressing an interview recently, and he said, when they talk about entrepreneurship in Nigeria, Nigerian government will now say, we have skill acquisition center.
No, but you see, skills, you see, but we do this. I remember the deputy governor saying something recently, Lagos State deputy governor saying that when he was, I think it was either working for, not Ashiwaju, as a minister then, that they wanted to do the link bridge, the planning to put the foundation of the link bridge. And they said they had to bring in 70 workers from Togo to come and lay the piping or the wiring or something like that. He now said, no, we'll train Nigerians. Yes. So they stopped the project, went to train these 70 people to do the wire cabling and wiring for 6 monns. Then the Nigerians did it. That's a skills acquisition that they're saying. Now, these ones were hired by all these multinationals because they didn't realize how on demand these guys were. Yes. So now these guys are earning like ₦1 million, like monthly, like these are, they're making serious money. So skills acquisition, don't underestimate the power of skills. I just said it's part of it. But
so how does that, but really, let's talk about it. How does that, translate to being an entrepreneur? You have a skill.
Having a skill.
Having a skill is just, it's a different thing. But if you don't know the business side of it, does that make you an entrepreneur?
Yeah. And I always say there's a difference between side hustle and entrepreneurship. Side hustle is about surviving. Entrepreneurship is about wealth creation and impact making. When you see an entrepreneur and they sit and they talk to you, they are talking about wealth creation and impact. What change can we bring to this particular process or industry? That's how they think. A sole proprietor would probably still think from a side hustle point of view that, you know what, I just want to survive. And once you are in that space, you are not an entrepreneur yet. You are still a side hustler.
Let me take Yakub, then I'll come to PC. Yakub, are you there? Are you live?
I'm there.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
And good morning to your guests. Mariah, I think it is better late than never to Nigerian government to understand that technology has come to stay. I heard your guest mention crypto earlier, if I don't make mistake. It is only Android and then iPhone that can give you a weapon at your comfort zone. But I can tell you, as far as I'm concerned, the crypto that he mentioned, do you know that now some of us into it, whether they like it or not, this time around, you can even have a card that you load it with crypto and then you change it to fiat money anywhere in the world. So basically, it is only your Android phone in your hand. Before you know, if you get a right information as your guest giving to us this morning, a right information at your desk, at your hand, and then you utilize it very well, it can turn you into a billionaire at midnight because what you just need is the right information. Do you get it? And then I also ask your guest a question because I didn't say that you know the school. The school that you are talking about, are you teaching about digital economy or digital wealth or just entrepreneurship? If it is all about digital economy, I think I would like to send my daughter there. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.
Digital economy. Have a student waiting.
Digital economy with entrepreneurship.
So when we talk about the digital economy, is the way I look at it is economy is that umbrella, right? Entrepreneurship is sort of the handle that you're holding to, to make sure that you're covered. So it's interrelatable. It's hard for you to talk about economy without talking about entrepreneurship. It's hard for you to talk about the digital space and technology without talking about digital economy and digital entrepreneurship as a way.
Yeah, so sorry, I have to take you back just a bit. When you were talking about, leveraging on this digital economy, you talked about how we can infuse culture. And I know that the Nigerian government have been looking at How do we sanitize the internet? How do we make laws to sort of restrict certain things because of what has been happening? What would you suggest will be the way forward? Because I know that Nigerians, we like to jump into things without, counting the costs, so to speak, or looking at the implications on our children and the society. Do you think the government is right in trying to make a move to sort of censor some places that we get to in the country?
I think it's a wrong discussion. I think the real discussion should be creating networking opportunities for entrepreneurs to share ideas. Okay. When they share ideas and they start to implement those ideas can help to curb the issues on the internet. It's been known, anywhere you use prohibition as your strategy, your key strategy, it multiplies. So people will find VPNs, people will find other ways to bypass whatever restrictions you're talking about. So prohibition is not always the best way forward, especially in a very diverse country as we live in. We're not fully conservative as a nation. We are both conservative and liberal in the same sense, right? So in that space, I think it should be more conversations around bringing people, entrepreneurs, technical experts, technology experts to discuss on how we can curb those issues that we see on the internet, because there's always a technology that can help.
Okay, I have to wrap up with you, but I need you to give a message to young people who are listening to you right now, who feel like, listen, this digital space is a bit saturated. Everybody's doing this. I don't know where do I fit myself. So I'd like you to just say one or two things to them before we wrap up with you. Okay.
I'm not sure if I can plug, but just reach out to me. Let's discuss around it. But there's so much. There's a lot of opportunities. I looked at those Mekayas, for example. There are opportunities there that you can use technology to help them much better, because every one of them have some level of a smartphone that they use. Text messaging can be used as well. So there's a lot of opportunities within that space. So what I would say is, don't give up. Just make sure that you study. Go on YouTube, use YouTube as much as often, learn coding, self-teach yourself, and then you can, tap into the opportunities there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sean, for joining us. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, June 24th, the world woke up to a horrendous story of Africans that were massacred at the Melilla border, preventing them from entering and immigrating into Spain. Now, this story went on social media. By the 26th of June, everyone was talking about it. And pictures came in, not just about, I think the reports we have, some estimated about 47 young people were dead, and more than 100 transferred to local hospitals in extremely serious conditions. Furthermore, pictures were seen of people tied down in the most dehumanizing ways, face down, hands tied to the back, and being stepped on and trampled on, others trying to escape. These are the pictures that will be going on social media, and it's quite heartbreaking, especially because recently when Russia invaded Ukraine, we saw how the world responded swiftly to help the Ukrainian refugees across the world. But in this situation, many Africans are left by themselves. And we wonder, what is the world turning into? What are your thoughts on this development? You can call us on 081-270-536-87, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourView TVC so we can read your tweets. We saw these pictures and it was quite heartbreaking. Because these are black people, totally black, and they've been done this to by Moroccans. Moroccans are also Africans, but they're not sub-Saharan. So now, these people were said to be emigrating to Spain, obviously illegally, and we've had this kind of stories before, where many of them die at sea for trying to run away from their countries. But this particular situation was very heartbreaking because 47 were confirmed dead. What are your thoughts, especially how does our government respond to these? Many of them were sent to, I think they were fleeing Sudan, I believe. We can't verify all the countries where all of them are from. But how does the African government respond to this? How is the United Nations responding to this? How is the global community responding to it, especially because we saw how they all responded when Ukraine was invaded? What are your thoughts on this, ladies?
Of course, they are racist around the world, and I would not even hold back with any fear when I say this. I see videos of Africans, because it could be across countries. There was a video that was shared, and I saw how just trying to cross into one of these European countries, and they were left in between the border of both countries in the cold. You know the weather over there is not like here. When people are trying to cross, it's either you give them asylum or you create in between both countries. The two countries are definitely racist countries, because if you are going to leave them in those forests and bush, and then you comb the bush later with, sniper dogs, and then later you shoot at them, they bite them, it's all over their bodies like that, and you leave them in that condition, and most of them don't make it out. They can't get out of the country they're trying to cross out from, and they can't get into the country they're trying to get into to start a new life. If you can't give them that, give them a passageway back to their country.
Simple.
Don't leave them in that place, because yes, let's not even bother about why did they leave their countries in the first place. That's not the issue here. The issue is that now where they are, can you have a human way of protecting their entry into your country rather than leave them in the cold, and then this surfaces? This happens between Morocco and Spain. They put Africans in that state and murdered some of them. Murdered a large number of them. Would this have happened to Ukrainians without the world screaming? Until we saw the videos, no major news station, international one, we know their names, carried this story. No.
Now, so the Musa Faki Mahama, he's the chairman of the African Union Commission, is saying that he's expressed shock, the degrading treatment of African migrants. He was really shocked by the international border and how the international community has also since responded. So, what are your thoughts on this when you saw this story?
So, for me, I think that you can only be, until Africa rises up to appreciating human life. It is the reason the world surrounded Ukraine was because the Ukrainians themselves had treated themselves with dignity.
It's our fault now.
No, it's really at the end of the day. So what are our leaders doing? See, what are our leaders doing?
Do they have the power to do anything?
Exactly. It is how you treat yourself. It's how you carry yourself. It's what you say. You don't have a mouth. Whenever we are going to UN General Assembly and we're going to speak, African leaders speak to empty auditoriums. And we've not seen that as a bad thing. So we are literally feeding the world. The truth is that we're feeding the world. They cannot survive without resources from Africa, but Africa doesn't value itself. So they will treat you the way you see yourself, and you cannot say anything about it. And also, I feel that until we have, and we did have those leaders, I love, whenever I attend Celebration, and this man from Tanzania, Professor Lumumba, when he talks about previous African leaders that were murdered, most of them were murdered, and how they confronted the Western world. See what happened with Gaddafi. When we have leaders that have liver, they will use us to kill ourselves. So we must stand up by ourselves to protect ourselves. Because in this case, Morocco is Africa. Maybe because they think they are light-skinned.
No, they are not. They'll tell you they're not sub-Saharan.
Yes, because they think they are light-skinned, they will use you to kill your people. At the end of the day, we are doing ourselves. Of course, the conversation should also deal with the fact that there are legal ways to migrate, and we should always pursue legal ways to migrate. But we've seen it also play out
something called human rights.
As long as you are not, you're coming. There's a statement that Mrs. Jumoke Adenowo said. He said, as long as where you are coming from is not habitable, you are seen as a migrant and you'll be mistreated, maltreated. If where you are coming from is not habitable, so that's what happens to Africans. When you are going somewhere, they look at you like you don't have home. So we're
talking about America. Anyhow. Recently, just I think over the weekend,
now.
They're trying to cross the Mexican border.
Yes.
Where they died in a truck. I think hundreds of them died, and they're suffocated because the weather, the temperature increased to a point where they couldn't survive. There was no water. So many of them died in the truck. And so there are many people. It's not migrating is not an African thing.
It's not an African problem.
Everybody around the world migrates for one reason or the other. Yes.
So there are legal ways to migrate. But they are also, would I call it an allowance for people to seek refuge elsewhere. It's even in the law.
Important.
And it's very important. When people are seeking refuge, because when I read the article here, they said these people are fleeing, most of them are fleeing from Sudan. It's a war zone. And so they needed to get out, which is okay. The least you could do is to treat them like human beings. So even if you don't want them in your place, allow them pass. Because it's not like they woke up and decided to come and stay in your country to earn a living. They are running from something that is pursuing them. The right thing to do is to give them that passageway. That's one. Secondly, Africa needs to unite if we want the world to take us serious. The problem we have is because we don't even like ourselves as Africans. This is across Africa. We don't treat ourselves as our African brothers and sisters. It happens. Even in South Africa, we will see xenophobia. In Ghana, we will see what happens there. Every African country, we're not united. And these people, these racists, already know this. And so they're doing divide and rule. The same divide and rule that they did in the country that we are where we are today is what they're still doing in the whole of Africa. Because imagine if Africa unites, if Africa understands the power it has. No government right now in other African countries are speaking up about it and getting upset and saying, we're not doing business with you again. How dare you do this? Everybody's minding their business. Tomorrow it will be the turn of Nigeria. Next tomorrow it will be the turn of South Africa. They will give out the same measurements of treatment because no other African country can stand up and say, I will not deal with you except you treat my people right.
To balance the conversation, let me just say, Morocco's Interior Ministry said that the statement that they only, according to them, only 23 people died on Friday due to what they described as stampede. So they didn't say they killed them. They said that was a stampede.
That's not what I have.
And they also said that 2,000 refugees and migrants tried to climb the metal border fence. They also said that 140 police officers of their own police officers were also wounded. And I mean, so the Spanish government,
because we're all on the same side. Just because it's important, we also put ourselves in the shoes of that country that everybody is overrunning. We complain in Lagos. Everybody is coming to Lagos. The leaders, our leaders in Lagos are stretched. Every day they build more schools. More people are coming to occupy the schools. They build more hospitals. More people are coming to use the medical centers. And it's not my fault that your leaders are irresponsible in the state you are coming from. And you don't have facilities to develop where you're coming from. But I now have to carry the burden of the failed leadership everywhere else. That is what the European countries are facing. That Africa is coming and they're taking over our area. We don't have the landmass or the facility to take care of your needs. Your own leaders. They cannot pass. You don't understand. If you come to my place, if I'm sending you back, do I have to pay the bills for you going back? So the issue is failed leadership on some parts has now pushed responsibility to some people. So the Moroccan government is looking at it that your country is in crisis. There's failure on your end. I don't know how to deal with you. The Spanish government has sent people to my end to help me. And I'm saying this for argument's sake. It's not an opinion I share. I feel that every human being should be treated with respect, regardless of whatever they find themselves, because life can happen to anybody. But sometimes as a government or as leaders, there is overwhelming of people just coming over to your place over and over again, and you're looking at it like, what do I have?
So it happens. I mean, many countries are facing the fact that
they
have to increase their taxes because the citizens are paying, and because they have immigrants they have to deal with. I mean, we all have that situation even in the U.S. where Nigerians here, you close to nothing, you pay for a medical school. You go to America, Americans they are paying taxes, and you as an American doctor, you come in with a Nigerian doctor, you do a few exams, you pass, and start earning thousands and thousands of dollars, and they are there paying back their school fees for years. So they get angry at Nigerians that you are not even paying anything, and you are building this big house because you did close to nothing in your own medical school. So there are those real issues, but there's always the human angle. The human angle they have come in their thrones to your country. 2,000 is based on what the report says. Now, how does the government return 2,000 people to where they're coming from? That's the question.
How do they feed them while they are there?
So
it's so sad.
There are solutions that, when you sit down and you want to be deliberate about that human face that you talk about, then you will find those solutions. Imagine Morocco and Spain, knowing that the transit country to their country have, this immigration laws that are lax, are going to allow the people come in, and talk to those countries so that as much as possible, you restrict them to closer home. Or you do what the UK does, put them on a plane and send back to their countries. And find a way for the cost, because the UN is not for only white people. when BC talked about South Africa, we know how it is a different treatment when the skin color changes in South Africa.
Before.
It is a different treatment. And we cannot sit here when we talk about racism and we want to talk about that issue. We then raise other issues that are core distractions from this issue that is bedeviling the world. When we sit here, we need to...
It must be balanced.
All
balance.
Allow yourself not to be balanced and be extremely against this issue of racism.
We are against it, but we must be balanced.
Don't create a balance.
Sometimes you need to create a balance.
Point,
sometimes I agree with you. Sometimes
so we're not distracted from the core
issue.
There are objections. There are objections, but it's important that we focus on the real issue.
Over and over again, I reiterated the fact that
a white person trying to escape a situation of hardship in his country be treated this way.
We saw the videos in Ukraine now. We
all
saw it.
The issue in Africa, it is not because Africans alone are the ones benefiting from this.
I agree.
What is the world order? Are we not spending dollars? Can we not strengthen the naira if it is allowed that the naira should be traded for countries who have crude? Now we who created this thing? The world will now come and say we have the UN. The UN is for everybody, and then the UN is doing something different for other countries. Not because the skin color changes. When we sit here, let's not allow a UN argument happen. We're Africans here. The UN argument cannot be because when they come there, they will now do a balance. They will say, no, this country is what leaders. What's the value of human life in Nigeria? In every country, they are killing people. Is it the same treatment for those people when they decide to leave? The rule in Islam is that when a person faces hardship in the country, in the state of place where they are, that's why people moved from Mecca to Medina and they were not killed. Africa, as a continent, at that time in those days, created home and accommodated people from other countries. What is the history of Ethiopia and Abyssinia? Read this history.
How did they
why are we not being treated? Whenever the skin color comes, you will now remember one person is superior to the other.
It's
that argument.
I agree with you,
we run out of time.
I agree with you. Me too.
I mean, I think we all agree that the African governments across board must stand firmly against this discrimination. And we even saw how Africans in Ukraine were treated. We saw our boys come out, our children had to come back.
Rwanda is giving them accommodation.
We had to get a plane to them to bring our boys home there at the time. So we understand the difference, it's very clear. But what we need to do is put our foot down, as Nima is doing right now, and also across all our governments across Africa must strongly put their foot down. Although AU is speaking, but AU shouldn't be allowed to speak alone. No, it's not whistling. He's speaking. No, AU is speaking. It's not whistling. But all African governments across board must stand with Sudan on this. We should just let them be alone to talk about it.
Making noise
Everybody's
by now.
making a lot of noise about this.
Universal rights.
We're going to monitor the story. We're going to have to continue. We can't continue the conversation, but it's a story we're going to monitor. We just hope, indeed, that these people are brought back to their home in Sudan. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.